So I was thinking about the fact that I am beyond grateful to live in a world where as many distractions that I have around me and that you have around you, I'm so grateful to live in a world where none of this shit actually matters. We are the only entity that can get in our own way. How much of a blessing is that when you really, really think about it? Like for me personally, between, friends, family, coworkers, just all type of outside forces that are just completely outside of my control. I can't completely control who comes at me, when they come at me. But I know that, when people are reaching out to you and they just generally want to be in your space, they don't know that you're trying to focus. They don't really give a fuck. And it's not their job to really give a fuck, but it's your job to be aggressive about, how you handle that, because you can allow it. You can allow those distractions. Like I just talked to a buddy of mine the other day, and, he said it was the hardest thing he had to do. Like, what do you do if you live in a negative environment and your family is the problem? And I was like, well, sometimes you got to get away. Sometimes you got to get out of that environment in order to grow. You know what I mean? Certain seeds don't grow in certain types of soil. So like sometimes you got to go reroot somewhere else and figure it out and build it somewhere else. So I was just thinking about the fact that, man, how much of a blessing is that to live in a world where we control the ultimate narrative. Like we control the ultimate outcome. We control our own destinies. Now, a lot of people might disagree with me on that, and I could give less than two shits because I know what it means to like hone in on something and then go after it. Like it's like Will Smith said, and I listen to the smartest minds in the world, but Will Smith in particular, I mentioned him because it's somebody we all know. He said that once your mind makes up what it wants and what it wants to create, he said the universe literally becomes water to your ideas. It begins to move out the way, or how water takes the shape of whatever is contained inside of. It'll start to take that shape. The world will literally start to take shape the way that you imagine it. And I just think it's incredible how it don't matter, who's around you, what's happening in the world. Like right now, we got this coronavirus, epidemic going on right now. Well, now it's becoming a pandemic because it's more global, but none of this shit really matter. Like, I know what the universe is up to. The universe is doing what it's always been doing since the Big Bang, creating opportunity, right? As ugly as it might look, this opportunity is being created, right? So new industries get the chance to emerge, and new people get the chance to see what it's like to be on top. People who are winning, probably not winning no more. Gary talked about the fact that once we see the next economic crash, a lot of people with entrepreneur in their bio are going to have to go find a job as bankers somewhere. So, like I said, I'm just so grateful that I'm the only thing that can possibly stop me. Nobody is holding me hostage. No job is holding me hostage. No spouse, no parent, nobody is holding me hostage. I get the ultimate say-so in what I want to do in my own life. And that's the power that you've been granted as a conscious creator. You've been granted the exact same power. So you can use everything that's going on around you as an excuse not to start executing. But you're gonna still be wondering why you're behind, and you're just gonna keep pointing the finger. Like nothing that's happening matters. Don't matter who the president is, that can't help you. And it's just like all the people that I know, they're looking for an excuse to use. And it's sad. It's honestly sad at the end of the day. Like, it's no excuses. No excuses. You are the only thing in the way. What are you going to do about it? How do you deal with yourself when you are the actual problem? For a lot of us, we can't even consciously see that we are the problem. So for most of us, we're never going to notice it. It's going to always be too fucking late. Like, I know people in their 20s that already made mistakes that, people in their 60s wouldn't even want to make. Like you can't go back on certain decisions that you made. Like I got a cousin with a few felonies and he talked about needing a job. And I was like, you really cornered yourself, but good news. You don't have to impress nobody on paper. You can start building your brand now and be the man, in person. So, but how you convey that to somebody who's just already mentally where they are, and it's just kind of too late. So, it's the reason why I also have like no pity for people. You know, I have sympathy for like my cousin and people in the world in his similar situation that just made mistakes and don't kind of know how to recoup or recover from it. But I don't feel sorry because I know at the end of the day, no matter what's happening around them, it's them. If they can't see themselves as the problem, how the hell are they supposed to solve it? How the hell are they supposed to remove the problem? So maybe I got to do a better job of just being more accountable, you know, or forcing people around me to be more accountable for themselves, because I'm pretty accountable. I take the mindset that everything is my fault. Like, you know what I'm saying? If my mom go bankrupt and you know, on the brink of losing her house, that's my fault. I should have been more focused at 16. So by the time I turned 21, she wouldn't have to. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about, though. That's what I'm talking about. Like, just taking the blame, because all of a sudden you start to feel more empowered about the things that's happening around you. And so, you know, if you can take your mom's financial situation as your own problem, then it's easier to handle small shit in the real world. You know what I mean? So like, you know, I'm about to just go all off topic with this, but the president, it's my fault that Donald Trump is the president. Like, I fucked up somewhere down, like I fucked up. But what am I going to do about it? Right? And I don't say that to Donald Trump. I use that just as a fucking example, right? Of just like things that are just my fault that aren't actually my fault, but in my mind, I just kind of take on that role or that responsibility just to kind of emphasize what I mean when you have to be willing to take 100% accountability for everything. Because then when you can finally do that, nothing is nobody else's fault. Like you can't point the finger at nobody else. So one more thing I wanted to talk about, especially if you're in a situation like my cousin, you know, not really in a position to find him a job, to start making money, to start investing in his own brand. The biggest thing that you and anybody in his predicament can do is get mentors, man. Like, I know it's a stigmatism out there on getting help, getting guidance from other people. We have that issue as men in 2020. We too macho to go to other guys and ask them like, yo, can you tell me how you did this? Or can you give me a little bit of help? And the people who are willing to be humble enough to do that will find themselves in better position than they were before they needed help in the first place. So if anybody ever heard the name Tai Lopez out there, I know a lot of people that love him. I know a lot of people that hate him. I can only speak from my personal experience from him. You know, he taught me just the value of reading more books and using those books as like literal personal mentors. So as crazy as it sounded, I actually just took his advice. And I feel like I'm a much better person for it. And if anybody outside of my own perspective perceive me as a much better person, then I always point my credit back to what I learned from what I read in those books and the things that those mentors were teaching me. Because it's like Les Brown said, at the end of the day, success, it leaves clues. All right. So if somebody did it right or figured things out, you can kind of like get an idea of what they did and start to figure it out for your own self. So success leaves clues. Find you a mentor. Worst case scenario, you know, or like, you know, read more books. Because you'll start to find that all the little life shit that you go through and have experienced, so-called obstacles, your mentor has probably experienced something similar, if not the exact same shit. So it's free insight. It's just insight. And we don't have all the answers. You know, nobody is born with all the answers. So what happens is you get answers from a collective group of people, and you formulate that and you stir it up in a big ass pot, and the final product is how you come out. So I'm personally at a place in my life where I feel like I don't need any more books, but it'd be foolish for me not to still read them, because I've gotten a great understanding of how this thing works, how I want to use it as a tool to move forward, impact other people, live my time, and get the hell up out of here, because we all got to get out of here. But man, I'm just so sick of seeing my people not figuring it out, and maybe they never will. Maybe this video is a complete waste of time, but I still got to do what I do and put out content. And since I know that Netflix right now, stocks is rising because of this so-called coronavirus, that means media consumption is going up, And if you're not putting out content right now, I can't even begin to tell you the stipulations. But this is the best time to go ahead and start dropping content since media consumption is on the rise. This is your chance to be seen more. So, man, let me know what y'all think. Am I wasting my time? Or is somebody getting anything out of this? Let me catch y'all on the next one.